guys, and welcome to my new movie review for the 2020 movie, The Outpost. The Outpost is rated MA15+ with a duration of 2 hours and 3 minutes long. The Outpost is an action, drama, history, and dare I say, comedy movie with the director of Rod Lurie. And the cast of The Outpost is as follows. We have Scott Eastwood, who plays SSG Clint Romisher. Also, we have Caleb Laundrie Jones, SPC Ty Carter. And also we have Orlando Bloom, who plays CPT Ben Keating. And guys, I'll give you my thoughts on The Outpost straight after I roll the synopsis. A small team of US soldiers battle against hundreds of Taliban fighters in Afghanistan. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to tell you something quite interesting actually about this movie. It is actually based on a true story, which I found that really fascinating. It's not the opening sequence, but very early on in the movie, guys, the camera crew do a really fascinating elemental shot that actually gives the audience member a really crystal clear idea of where the outpost is. And it's really well executed. Now, Scott Eastwood walks out of the tent and out of a situation, and as he walks out of the tent, he looks up, right? And the camera, and as he looks up, it's like the camera follows his eye line, like literally like that. And then the camera literally looks up and around, and a full 360-degree view of what we now know where they are. First of all, I just wanted to say that shot was so captivating. And when the camera pans back around to Scott Eastwood's character, back on him, I literally remember thinking to myself in the movies, that was so cinematically beautiful. And it was so well done. Whoever the camera guy was who was holding the camera for that shot, wow. He has such a steady hand. It literally just wrapped around and just came straight back down, and it looked like, I'm pretty sure it was one motion shot, because that's exactly what that shot looked like. Why I bring that up is purely because of the fact that when you see the movie, the context of the movie, the entire context of the movie, hence the reason of the title, The Outpost, is actually situated in the element of it. Like literally, the entire movie is that. And obviously the director wanted to give us as an audience member the full scope, scale of idea of what the situation and how messed up the situation is. Now, first of all, for anyone who's been following my channel for any period of time, I don't do spoilers in my movie reviews at all, so rest assured, I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm not going to give anything away. Second of all, I just wanted to say this. As I left the cinema, just a little bit of a heads up. As I left the cinema, the manager, I know the manager and all the staff members at my local cinema because I go there it's literally every single week. I left and I said, you've got to go see The Outpost. It's absolutely amazing. I really loved it. And he said to me, aren't you going to stay for the interviews? And I said, what are you talking about? He's like, they're actually doing interviews of the actual people, of like the survivors, or whatever you want to call them, from the situation. And I was like, oh, really? So just letting you guys know that if you stay back in the session, and there's a very high possibility that I'll go and see this movie because it's absolutely stellarly amazing, but stay around till after they show pictures before the credits roll. They show pictures of the cast member in the movie, and then the actual military person who they portrayed, which was really beautiful. As I said, it is based on a true story, guys. So the reality of the situation, obviously they had to tone it back, like hardcore. In retrospect, that's what I would think. Because in real life, in the army, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, there's no way. That would have been like a million times worse. But I have to say this. Watching this movie, one of the key elements that stood out to me really, really heavily about this movie, at the ending of the movie, as the movie is wrapping up, like in the explosion sequence of elements in events that happened in the movie, I remember thinking to myself, one of the things that I don't think I could get over, like me being in the army, is all the explosions. Like, I really, really sat back and really pondered about the idea of the explosions. And I thought to myself when I was watching this movie, like, the bullets didn't stop, the explosions didn't stop, the dirt, all that kind of stuff, blood and all that sort of stuff. And just being elementally seeing it in the cinema, I just thought to myself, stuff that a million times over. Like literally. Now, I know that IMDb doesn't actually state this movie, as I said in the introduction, guys, as a comedy, because it's not. It's not a comedy. But in saying that, there are really, really, really funny moments in this movie, guys. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly mean that. Like, really. There are moments in this movie, and this is going to sound bad. This probably will sound bad. But me and the two other women that were in the movie with me, like literally sitting in the same aisle but on the other side of the cinema, they laughed at a few jokes at the beginning, and I didn't know what they were laughing at. But then there's jokes probably in the middle, realistically in the middle of the movie, and we were all just bursting out laughing. And I'm not going to give it away, as I said, no spoilers. But I'll let you in on a little bit of context of where I'm at with that and why. I'll just give you a heads up. A part of this movie that is incredible is, and for those of you who have been following my channel for any period of time, you know that I'm going to say what I'm about to say right now. And those of you who knew, welcome. But character chemistry, specifically in a movie like this, is so vital to the storyline. And this movie, now, I have to say two things I'm going to say here. One, the character chemistry is so good that when they do these sequences and when he's eating the cup of noodles, pay attention to that sequence. He's eating a cup of noodles. Pay attention to what they're saying. Because I laughed so hard at that. I laughed so hard at that. The second thing I just wanted to say to you guys, just really quickly before I go on, is that one of the things I loved about this movie, and I kept thinking about this over and over and over, is they didn't do not once in this movie was there a slow motion tracking sequence. Now, a lot of the time they do that in movies to really show the expression and the explosion, and they didn't need to do it because it wasn't necessary in this movie, and I'm really glad that they didn't do it because it was like their own taste. It was like their own flavor of this movie. And I'm really glad about that because it actually executed the movie, in my personal opinion, better than what it would have been if they used that sort of stuff. And I really love the fact that they didn't use it because it was awesome. It was the pacing of this, specifically for the fact that it goes for 2 hours, the pacing of this is so fluent. Like it really, 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 really is. It's such a good paced movie. Not once at all did I not bored, but like zoned out because it's really consistent. Now, okay, I have to tell you about, I called it the night tracking scene. Okay, I'm going to call it the night track scene. Okay, like the night truck scene on the track. Okay, night truck scene on the track. Okay, when you come to that part of the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. I saw that coming a mile away. The outcome of what happens to that, of what happens after that sequence, I saw that coming a mile away. Like literally, that was so bluntly obvious that was going to happen. Seriously. And the camera operating technique that they made to use gave the audience a sort of a pre heads up judgment of it coming out. But then when you actually see it come to pass, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Does that make sense? So when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And those of you who've seen the movie, did you see it coming? Did you see that coming as a mile away like I did? Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh man, I don't even think it was supposed to be funny. I really, really, really don't even think it was supposed to be funny. But one of the guys in this movie says in this movie, I think they're talking about scarves. And just the way he said it and the context of the scene in what he says in the leading up to that, it just cracked me up so bad. I literally burst out laughing at that. And I thought that was really, really funny. It probably wasn't. In fact, if you've seen this movie, let me know in the comment section below. Was that funny or was that just me? I'd really love to know your feedback on that because I thought that scene was absolutely hilarious. Another element of this movie that I found absolutely hilarious was every single time that there's a physical photo, like a paper photo in the movie, and that it's in context of the sequence, of the scene, it is so funny. I mean, how could you make a photo that funny? One of the first one that they show is like cute. Like it's kind of silly. Like it's kind of gross actually. It's actually kind of gross. It's like pretty nasty actually that someone would do that to that over that photo. But the second one, the lead up to the scene, to the reveal of the photo is so funny. Oh my gosh. Like for real so funny. Like I'm not even kidding you guys. I laughed so hard at that element of the movie. Oh man alive. Every time they showed a photo, it was so good. Now I want to talk about a scene really quickly before I go on. There's a scene where I knew something was going to happen that was really bad. I saw it coming a mile away, but just the way they did it was what I was so impressed with. They're walking across a bridge, and as they're walking across the bridge, the camera pans out, and then all of a sudden we have a really stunning visual shot of two guys walking on a bridge. The element that comes after that sequence is really, 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 like it just catches you by surprise. But that sequence of shots of events that track them across that bridge, oh man, I tell you, however they did that, which I have a feeling, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I have a really, really strong feeling that they captured that sequence, that exact scene, with a drone. But I could be completely wrong. They could have had this massive, like a crane on a camera to be able to catch that shot. But I was really impressed with that. I was unbelievably impressed with that shot. It was really, 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 really well executed for a shot like that. It was really good. As I said, guys, Scott Eastwood is one of the lead roles in this movie. And I could be wrong in saying this, but I don't feel like I am. And I feel pretty confident in saying this. But I feel like Scott Eastwood had a very dominant and very deliberate Clint Eastwood moment. Now, for those of you who don't know, Scott Eastwood is Clint Eastwood's father. Fun fact, just in case you didn't know, now you do. So yeah, he had a moment. He had a full-on Clint Eastwood moment. And it wasn't like that bad movie, Too Bad, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. That Western, one of the first one that Clint Eastwood ever did, that movie that I'm talking about. It wasn't that, like it wasn't a full-on eye close-up of, cigar in his mouth. Do you feel lucky, punk? You know what I'm talking about. One of the most iconic scenes in film history. It wasn't like that, but it kind of was. It was a real close-up of Scott Eastwood's face, and then he delivered this line. And I was just like, trying to take after your daddy there, hey? I like that. So like a little nod to your father. I like the respect in that. That's pretty cool. So for anyone who has been following my channel for any period of time, you know what I'm about to say. Does the Outpost have, in its core elemental central DNA, the thing that film needs to be film, in my personal humble opinion, to go back months, years down the track and rewatch it, guys, which I like to call rewatchability. Does The Outpost have rewatchability, guys? And that to you I say, you know it does. Come on. Seriously. The Outpost has unbelievably creative rewatchability. This movie is an absolute brilliant watch. You are going to love every moment of it, even if you don't love movies like this, in my personal opinion. Seriously. I honestly believe that it will captivate you. You'll love the characters in it. You'll get a good laugh at it. You'll be so taken back. Now, before I get into the trivia of this movie review, I just want to tell you about one other character right at the end of it. And the reason why I'm bringing her up in this movie was because she has a very intensified role, and you'll see why. It's right at the end of the movie. But man, he brings it up. He says it. She's so beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. And that, my friends, is, unfortunately, I can't find her name. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I really apologize about that. But the photo on IMDb isn't available of her face. But when you see the movie, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about, because she is stunning. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. And he even says it in the scene. He's like, wow, you're really pretty. And she's like, thank you. I was blown away by that because she was really pretty. I was like, wow, maybe I should join the army. But not really. Guys, for anyone who has been following my channel for any period of time, you guys know what time it is. Guys, it's trivia time in my movie reviews. Because in my personal opinion, trivia in a movie review is like icing on a cake. And man, who doesn't love cake? Oh, I love cake. Guys, it's trivia time. Scott Eastwood is Clint Eastwood, Milo Gibson, Mel Gibson, and James Jagger with Mick Jagger are all sons of famous directors, actors, and musicians. Will Attenborough is the grandson of famed director Richard Attenborough, and Scott Aldercoffey is the grandson of actor Alan Alda. How fun is that? Yeah, that's right. As I said, guys, Clint Eastwood, you're welcome. Next piece of trivia is, guys, several soldiers were actually played by actual soldiers in combat Outpost Keating. Next piece of trivia is, my friends, Clinton Robinson has been critical of the choice of the actual Outpost Keating base in the New Austin Provincetown base in New Afghanistan, describing it as like being in a fishbowl of fighting from the bottom of the paper cup up. That's really interesting, because when you see the movie, you'll understand that. Next piece of trivia is, my friends, based on the book Red Platoon, a true story of American valor written by Clinton Romisha, was played by Scott Eastwood. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Scott Eastwood never met Clinton Romisha, the staff sergeant who portrayed, though he did manage to discuss at length his role over the phone conversation in depth. Next piece of trivia is, guys, this is the second film in which Orlando Bloom has played a US soldier. In the first one was Black Hawk Down 2001, in which he played a PFC Blackburn. Guys, this is the last piece of trivia, and I'll leave you with this, guys. I appreciate you sticking in here. You guys are amazing. The character Clint Romister, has played by Scott Eastwood, has the same first name as his dad, Clint Eastwood. That's a pretty random piece of trivia. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for clicking on this review for The Outpost. Have you had your chance? Have you had the opportunity to see The Outpost yet? If you have, leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this movie. Did you love it as much as I did? I thought it was brilliant. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't already, if you'd be so kind of go ahead, subscribe, leave a like, and click that bell for notifications. Guys, don't forget who's bringing this movie review for The Outpost. This is Superman Steve, guys. Loving your time always and appreciate you being here. Flying out!